fat is stored on farm. I think now that person is still tired and hungry, and the cycle goes on and on and on. This is a big reason for where we are today. Did I get that right, Bajibhai? Okay, thank you. So now, where this fat goes? Where does this fat go? In a typical situation, it goes in the subcutaneous tissue, it goes in the back, it goes in the viscera. But in us, it gets deposited in the belly. It gets deposited in the viscera. That's where this fat is sitting. And because of that, remember the type of weight that you want to see is basically height and the weight combination, that is the BMI. That's what is taken as a sophisticated measure of your weight. But in our case, that's not good enough. What we need to do is to check the waist circumference. And if you look at that, for adjusted for height and age, etc., men and women, both from of all these 4 different types, Asian and Indian, those are the 2 bars of the Asian Indians, have the largest waist circumference as such. Now, how about little kids? When they are born, this is the white Caucasian is about 3,500 grams, 7.7 pounds or so. Indian is 2,700 grams in this example. So, we look at this nice, chubby little baby, and ours is this scrawny little suka kari, beta, and we're trying to feed them and all. But let's look into the muscle and fat ratio. This is the fat ratio, this is the muscle. It is reversed over here. There is less muscle, more fat in the South Asian child. So even in those skinny children, as we are feeding them, trying to push them along to make them fatter, that's not a very healthy thing that we are doing. Keep that in mind. That's why the BMI numbers, which are taken, those are the numbers that are taken right now. So BMI of 30 is what is accepted, but in South Asians, it should be a BMI of 25, and our goal should be to achieve less than 23. The abdominal circumflex is about 100 is what is acceptable. That's like 40 inches your belt size. And this is more than 90 is obesity, which is like 36 inches. And this is for women is 80, which is like 32 inches. Okay? So that's where we are. Now the cholesterol. You hear about the total cholesterol and the bad cholesterol being high. That is a standard measure. But in addition to that, in the South Asians, you have low HDL, the good cholesterol. The good cholesterol is the scavenger cholesterol, which drives the bad things out of the way. That cholesterol is also not very efficient, and it's a smaller size molecule as such. They have high triglycerides. There are these 2 factors, ApoB and Lp(a). Lp(a) and ApoB are very important indicators of atherogenicis or cholesterol. We don't even measure that on a regular basis. But that is a pretty sensitive way, especially in South Asians, to check that out. The goal in adults is less than 100. That's the LDL goal. But in high-risk individuals, it is less than 70. But in South Asians, the real goal should be less than 50, and a very high risk down to 30. If you look at the diabetes, Asian Indians are way up there when you compare to the other type of thing. And this is the point I was making. By the time diabetes comes into play, it is too late. The important thing is that pre-diabetic stage, which is that green line. This is the survival. The survival is dropping with time, and the green line is somewhere in the middle. It is not, when you have those little rises in blood sugars and all that, don't think that is nothing. That is a lot. And so I have caused you to get depressed with all the slides that I have presented and all that. If I've done that, this is the heart of the issue. And as if you understand this slide, you have my talk, which is the non-modifiable factors you cannot do anything about. But if you correct the modifiable factors, your lifestyle, your risk can be reduced by 48% in this study, and by the medications, 44%. You can literally reverse your problems that you have, or curtail that significantly. But how do you do this? This is on AHA website, American Heart Association website. There are these 7 ways: eat right, lose weight, exercise, stop smoking, manage your blood pressure, control your cholesterol, reduce your blood pressure. Those are the standard things that you hear all the time. Exercise-wise, 150 minutes of activity, 75 minutes of aerobic activity, vigorous activity, 30 minutes of walking, aggressive walking, 30 minutes of walking at least is a great start over there. But the problem is we don't think of the teens and the kids. They go to school, they run around the same way as the other kids do. When they come home, they sit there and they study. They sit in front of the computer and they study, whereas the Caucasian kids are going out there and black kids are going out there and playing. That is something we have to think about. Our kids are great in their studies and their exams, but not so in the health. Now, if you have, all of us are busy, if you have too much time for exercise, or you don't have enough time for exercise, if you want to do it just on the weekend, that is also good. This is an inactive person, if that is one. If you are just doing on the weekends, you're still achieving a significant amount of success, both for coronary disease and cancer. Okay? So exercise helps both those people as such. How do we eat better? With regards to the food, whole foods which contains the fresh foods and all that is the way to go. Limit the processed food. Processed food is bad. Processed food is anything which has a label and is in the box, other than milk probably, right? So other than that, everything has we don't know what to read the labels. We stand there and look at those things. I want you to concentrate on just two things if you can. Calories and carbohydrate intake. Okay? Carbohydrates, which is there in it because it's all about carbs. So remember that. So in this is the processed food. And that was supposed to show up at the later time, but I was going to show there are 10 spoons of sugar in a Coke can. 10 spoons of, just imagine you drinking tea. You drink in that cup, you put in a spoon of sugar, right? You put on 2 spoons. Would you drink anything with 10 spoons of sugar? We do that all the time with a Coke can. And that is there with all other things. There are 4 grams of sugar in each spoon. 4 grams of sugar in each spoon. That is 10, that is 40 grams. If you look at it, there is 40 grams over there. So your processed food, why do they process food? First, they want to make money because they can have a good shelf life. But there is also food safety involved. They can control that. There is taste involved. It's easy. It's convenient as such. The unprocessed foods we talked about just now, and there is an ultra-processed variety, which is the McDonald's, the Wendy, the Pizza Hut stuff. Try to avoid that as much as possible. Choose processed food, but at least if you're going to choose processed food, use it with less sugar and sodium as such. Now, there's a lot of talk about these vegetable oils. Dalda and all that, the saturated fat was turned down. And after that, there was a vegetable oil, rates of vegetable oil sales grew tremendously. This is good, but there's a problem. The problem is that this contains a lot of processing. With that, there are trans fats introduced. There are problems introduced with that. So the same vegetable oils that were there before are not the same vegetable oils that today. These are clean, beautiful golden oil. To get there, they have to do a lot of chemicals and throw in a lot of stuff. Avocado oil is a very good oil. Olive oil is a very good oil. Heating these oils out at a very high amount of heat, which we use in our Indian cooking, it gets you more trans fats. Reheating oil, don't use reheating oil. That is oil you have cooked with, and you heat it again, and you heat it again. That is not a good thing. Those foods that you store and you microwave or heat them multiple times, that's not a good thing. You're getting trans fats when you put that in there. So this is your typical plate. Vegetables and fruits constitute about half of it. Whole grains and healthy protein constitutes the other half. So this is your usual fruits. All the fruits are very good. In the vegetables, remember there are some good and bad vegetables. Like potato is a high starch vegetable as such. So those roots and all. Whole grains are very good. Healthy protein is your fish, is your turkey, the white meats as such. Many of the red meat gets a bad name mainly because they are fed corn and they're fed, if they were grass fed, it'll be a whole different ball game. But that's not the case. And the plant protein, never forget the plant protein. Your beans, that are dals that we eat, the egg that we eat, that's all plant protein. That's very good as such for you. Now, fasting, this is really my almost my last slide. Fasting benefits can be a whole talk by itself, okay? But to go over a few of the obvious weight loss that goes with it. Health with digestive problems. I have had GERD, heartburn all my life, right from the medical school days. I carry these pills of Tums, Maalox, Mylanta in my car, my wife's car, my office, my hospital, and everything like that. I need that because when I skip a meal, I get heartburn as such. But in the time of Ramadan, I don't get that. I don't have the same heartburn. I don't take the same, I hardly use these things. Why is this happening? People who have long-time diarrheas and who have been on may said, what is happening is our gut contains bacteria which are 10 times more than number of cells in our body. Those are the friendly bacteria. We put in stuff, junk, which goes into our body, and that converts those bacteria into the unhealthy bacteria. And that bacteria gets regenerated when you have a period of fasting. There is, I don't know if I say this, but there's a South California University actually uses the stool, the defecation of medical students as part of a study to reposition itself because that healthy stool contains the bacteria which these people need who has been given antibiotics and their bacteria are dead. So that's where this comes in. And there are many GI benefits that come with fasting as such. Insulin sensitivity, which I talked about just now, the resistance, the opposite of that is sensitivity. The cells are hungry for food, and when insulin brings it food, they open up the gates and they eat it. And that's how it gets better and better. There are proofs. Bajibai is here. I won't overstep. You correct me if I'm wrong on anything. But insulin resistance is a huge part of a problem. And breaking that is fasting. Fasting will do that. What your body needs is literally, you can survive on just water. You need water, but you can survive on this for a long time. Intermittent fasting, there are some people who say that as long as you provide the nutrition and you provide the electrolytes, your body can take up to 40 days of fasting as such, with water and all that, not without, okay? So this is all excess fat that they are being utilized as such. Don't worry, you're not going to disappear when we start fasting, So your body can handle that. It actually has shown to slow down aging. Fasting, intermittent fasting, the scientific side, not the religious that we do, that fasting has been studied and it is shown to slow down aging as such and boost the immune system. Skin diseases, other diseases have improved with fasting as such. Growth hormone, a tiny amount of growth hormone costs $400. People take this and they use it to improve their health, to improve their skin condition and all that. One day of fasting can bring about that growth hormone. So this is the advantage of fasting, as I said. Inflammation plays a vital role in all your arthritis, heart disease, stroke and all that. It helps reduce that. Increased focus. Hakeem Olajuwon, those who know NBA very well, when he won the world championship in NBA championship, he was the first one that Western society got exposed to, and asked him that you played basketball while you're fasting. That was the first time they got exposed to. His answer was that during the time of the fast, I always focus much better. I focus much better compared to the time when I'm not fasting. You think it is deviation just because of food and all that? It is more than that. There are neuropeptides which get stimulated when we fast. That fasting, it helps the brain focus. It's very well known. So then why do we find ourselves groggy and we feel tired and all that the first few days of Ramadan, and then we get better after that? Why do you think that is? That's because we have become food junkies over a period of time. We don't need to eat 3 times a day. We literally need to eat 1 time a day. The prehistoric man did not have 3 times a day meals that he could hunt a tiger, hunt some animal, and have the food ready 3 times a day. They ate when they could eat. And he was a very strong, those women were very strong. Our bodies have changed over a period of time, but our genes have not. It takes a long time for your genes to change. The industrial revolution that we live in is little less than a second of the whole humankind. So our genes haven't caught up to our habits, and so forget our genes catching up, our body catching up when we came from South Asia to US, and we are starting to do our things over here. So fasting is amazing with that. So this is a summary of what we talked today. South Asians have an increased risk and mortality, and with that, the obesity is mainly in the belly. So you should measure the waist circumference as such. The cholesterol is a big part of it. A low HDL, which is the good cholesterol, and a high LP little a or ApoB are the ones that we see in these patients. Diabetes, and more important, the pre-diabetics, along with understanding the cycle of insulin resistance, will be very important. Those 7 things which American Heart recommends: watch your food, obesity, exercise, smoking, hypertension, lipids, blood sugar, and intermittent fasting, like we talked about. Mola has said, disease of the heart is worse than the disease of the body. I'm taking it on a literal meaning. Imam Sajjad said, remember, the most precious thing that you own in this world is your heart, so don't let anything take your heart. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer. Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, Dr. Muswi, for that wonderful and informative presentation. And I think we learned a lot. Hopefully, we can utilize what you've taught and be healthier as a community. Thank you so much. And a loud salawat for all of the organizers and the volunteers of Imamia Medics, Dr. Waji Rizvi, Dr. Muswi, Dr. Hadika Batul, and their whole team. Salawat. So we'll now proceed to the recitation of Dua Mujeer. And then the other programs that we announced will start at 10 p.m., the ladies pickleball in the gym, as well as the youth Sari program. So Dua Mujeer now, followed by the ladies pickleball and youth Sari program.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبحانك يا الله تعاليت يا رحمن أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا رحيم تعاليت يا كريم أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا ملك تعاليت يا مالك أجرنا من النار يا مجير. سبحانك يا قدوس تعاليت يا سلام أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مؤمن تعاليت يا مهيمن أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا عزيز تعاليت يا جبار أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا متكبر تعاليت يا متجبر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا خالق تعاليت يا بارئ أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مصور تعاليت يا مقدر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا هادي تعاليت يا باقي أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا وهاب تعاليت يا تواب أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا فتاح تعاليت يا مرتهو أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا سيدي تعاليت يا مولا أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا قريب تعاليت يا رقيب أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مبدي تعاليت يا معيد أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا حميد تعاليت يا مجيد أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا قديم تعاليت يا عظيم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا غفور تعاليت يا شكور أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا شاهد تعاليت يا شهيد أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا هنان تعاليت يا منان أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا باعث تعاليت يا وارث أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا محيي تعاليت يا مميت أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا شفيق تعاليت يا رفيق أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا أنيس تعاليت يا مؤنس أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا جليل تعاليت يا جميل أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا خبير تعاليت يا بصير أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا حفيظ تعاليت يا مليك أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا معبود تعاليت يا موجود أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا غفار تعاليت يا قهار أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مذكور تعاليت يا مشكور أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا جواد تعاليت يا مآذ أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا جمال تعاليت يا جلال أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا سابق تعاليت يا رازق أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا صادق تعاليت يا فالق أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا سميع تعاليت يا سريع أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا رفيع تعاليت يا بديع أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا فعال تعاليت يا متعال أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا قاضي تعاليت يا راضي أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا قاهر تعاليت يا طاهر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا عالم تعاليت يا حاكم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا دائم تعاليت يا قائم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا عاصم تعاليت يا قاسم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا غني تعاليت يا مغني أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا وفي تعاليت يا قوي أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا كافي تعاليت يا شافي أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مقدم تعاليت يا مؤخر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا أول تعاليت يا آخر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا ظاهر تعاليت يا باطل أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا رجاء تعاليت يا مرتجى أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا زلمن تعاليت يا زتال أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا حي تعاليت يا قيوم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا واحد تعاليت يا أحد أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا سيد تعاليت يا صمد أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا قدير تعاليت يا كبير أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا والي تعاليت يا عالي أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا علي تعاليت يا أعلى أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا ولي تعاليت يا مولى أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا ضاري تعاليت يا باري أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا حافظ تعاليت يا رافع أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مقسط تعاليت يا جامع أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مؤز تعاليت يا مذل أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا حافظ تعاليت يا حفيظ أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا قادر تعاليت يا مقتدر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا عليم تعاليت يا حليم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا حكم تعاليت يا حكيم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا معطي تعاليت يا مانع أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا ضار تعاليت يا نافع أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مجيب تعاليت يا حسيب أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا عادل تعاليت يا فاصل أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا لطيف تعاليت يا شريف أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا رب تعاليت يا حق أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا ماجد تعاليت يا واجد أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا غفور سبحانك يا عفو تعاليت يا منتقم أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا واسع تعاليت يا موسع أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا رؤوف تعاليت يا عطوف أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا فرد تعاليت يا وتر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مقيت تعاليت يا مهيت أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا وكيل تعاليت يا عدل أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مبين سبحانك يا مبين تعاليت يا متين أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا بر سبحانك يا بر تعاليت يا ودود أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا رشيد تعاليت يا مرشد أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا نور تعاليت يا منور أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا نصير تعاليت يا ناصر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا صبور تعاليت يا صابر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا محسن تعاليت يا منشئ أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا سبحان تعاليت يا ديان أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا مغيث تعاليت يا غياث أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا فاطر تعاليت يا حاضر أجرنا من النار يا مجير سبحانك يا ذا العز والجمال سبحان تباركت يا ذا الجبروت والجلال سبحانك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين فاستجبنا له ونجيناه من الغم وكذلك ننجي المؤمنين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين وحسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد